Welcome to episode 3 of the Clay Chronicles, where mud meets magic. In this series, we'll embark on a journey through my collection, unraveling the secrets of their creation, decoration, and the masterful hands that brought them to life. From cups to home decor, we'll explore the mysteries, the skills and techniques, and the talented potters who transformed mud into magic. Today, we will be discussing the work of Deb Schwartzkopf. Deb is a full-time studio potter, author, instructor, gardener, and beekeeper. Deb is also behind the creation of 2 ceramic spaces in the Seattle area, Rat City Studios and Rain City Clay. My name is Paige Kelly, and I am the potter, maker, and creator behind Zephyr Valley Ceramics. I created this series to bring ceramics education and inspiration to underserved communities and clay fans alike. Welcome! Hi there. Thanks for joining me for episode 3. I am very excited to share this potter with you today, primarily because Deb Schwartzkopf is an artist who challenges the traditional way of making pots. She uses a combination of molds and wheel thrown forms, and she alters all of the things. So I met Deb, I think it was in 2004. It's been long enough ago that it's a little bit blurry, but I think that Deb came into the class that I was taking with Ben Krepke and did a demonstration. One of the things that Deb does that's so interesting is she uses the art of sewing to inform the way that she alters her pots. Her inspirations are very nature-oriented. I see birds in a lot of the work that she does. She also has a way of using color that is almost always neutral, but then there's this pop. And there's something about the way that she uses that decoration that really makes the whole feel of it be very comforting, and you just want to touch her work. So I'm going to show you the pieces that I personally have from my collection. The first piece that I have, I'm pretty sure this piece, it's a bowl, and it has Deb's signature on the bottom. And I'm hoping that you can see how the bottom of this pot is concave. And then there's this really lovely foot ring. And then there's sort of you can see it better from the inside. There's this line around the edge. This was made as a slab piece of clay formed over a bisque mold. And this part of the bowl was thrown on the wheel. These 2 pieces were brought together through altering. Let me show you what I mean about the pop of color. Look at that lip. Now I'm going to turn down my light a little bit here so that you can see the color. It's a very soft, pale yellow. I would almost even call it a pale chartreuse. It's got a little bit of a hint of green. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus on that. And you can see also that it's very glossy here at the top, and it gets more satin as the clay, as it moves down. And that indicates to me that there's multiple layers of glazes. All right, so you can see the wheel thrown piece. You can see just the slightest little hint of the wheel, the texture the fingers leave on the pot when it's thrown on the wheel. And then you can see the slab forming, this triangle, over the top of a bisque mold. And the lips of her pots are just so amazing to feel. So let's talk about the forming first, because I want to talk about all of the things. The first part of this is the wheel thrown body. So the main part of the body is thrown on the wheel, and it's then left to set up. The lip has a bevel, And it's a fairly steep bevel. It's not like a 45. It's a fairly steep bevel. And then there's a thickness where that bevel slopes down into the body of the pot. And that just gives a really nice, like if you like to drink your soup, that gives you a nice lip to drink from the bowl. Okay. I also love that we're taking what is typically a circular shape and turning it into a triangle, because I have to say there's no better shape than a triangle. And then you also have the fancy shiny glaze and the satin glaze and the combination that you get with the addition of these pops of color. Now, I'm guessing, because I don't know for sure, but my guess is that the pops of color are underglaze, and they are covered by this sort of, I'm going to say juicy, because this looks like one of the juicy glazes that I remember from the Bray. Sort of on the rim, and that helps give it this running effect where you get this glossiness that runs down in through the satin glaze. So it's not as shiny. And then you get to see this gloss again. So my thought there too is that this is an underglaze, but that could be a glaze. And then Deb's name is inscribed. I'm going to guess that's an underglaze pencil. So I'll give that to you nice and close so you can see that. Okay. Don't you love how Deb reads Deb, even inverted? And then you have your interior liner glaze, which is a really soft blue, like almost a robin's egg blue. And that juicy layer on the top caused that purple to run on the inside, which is really great because you don't see that here on the outside, right? So I love this little bowl. It's porcelain, and I also have a cup. So let me show you this cup. Again, we have sort of a yellowy chartreusey color that has a glaze over the top that's causing the running that you see here. And we have these lovely pops of color. And again, Deb's signature. I'm going to put that up close for you so you can see that. Porcelain. So that white foot shows the porcelain clay. And again, I think that's probably an underglaze with an underglaze pencil. And this is a glaze. This yellow. It's a very solid, sturdy yellow. It's just a lick. It's so sweet. It kind of tells you where to put your lips, doesn't it? So it informs the drinking. Now let's talk about this handle. Deb does these lovely loop handles. And you can stick multiple fingers in there. So I have a full fist. Of course, I do have kind of small hands, so I would say this is a 3-finger handle for most folks. Get my hands out of the way so you can see the pot. And this is, it looks textural, but it's really very smooth. So again, I want to point out that this foot is created. Let's see if I can get it to focus there. There we go. This foot is created on a bisque mold with a slab to get this shape, which again is triangular. It's a rounded triangle. And this part, the body of the cup is thrown. So you can see inside here, the finger rings, the throwing rings. And then look at the bottom. See how cool that foot looks on the bottom there? So this is just a very basic form out of all of the things that Deb makes. But I wanted to share with you the making of these because the idea that wheel throwing or hand building are the only two ways to make is kind of a fallacy. You really can use both forms. In this case, Deb uses bisque molds to help with her hand building part. And you can blend them and they make really rather charming pots. Okay, so Deb is also one of the nicest people that you could possibly meet. One of the reasons I know she's so nice is because she's done such an amazing job building 2 ceramic spaces in the Seattle metro area. One of them is sort of a guild type community space where you can rent an area to work. And the other is a workshop space. And I'm going to show you those websites. Okay, first let's stop at the Google Images. This is always my favorite thing to do, is to start off to show folks the variations of pots that are available that this particular maker makes. And you can see, like, remember I said, when you look at her work, it evokes birds. Tell me that doesn't look like a bird, like a duck or a swan. I just think that's fabulous. And you'll see the combination of hand building and making wheel thrown pots and the mix in all of this work. This is a fascinating bowl here. Look at this one. Isn't that beautiful? This is actually a fairly new post on Deb's Instagram. This is a very sweet sake set, sherry set. I think it's lovely. And the other thing you'll see in Deb's work is the emphasis of connection. So the parts that meet each other. She's not trying to blend those pieces away. She wants you to see where those connections are made. This one is a really great example of that. So you can see where the handle is attached. You can see where the neck of this pot meets the body and where the spout meets the body. And I really love that feature about Deb's work. It's very clearly a handmade piece with tons of attention that has been paid to it. So let's go to her first website here, Rat City Studios. So from what I can tell, this is Deb's primary website where she has her workshops and where she do the holiday shows. So this is kind of a little bit of a gallery space. It looks like there's workshops, all kinds of fun things happening here. And then there's Rain City Clay, where you can take classes and learn how to play in clay, how to make. So you have a studio space where you can rent a studio space, have a place to work, and then they are firing in soda kilns, which is a really great way to fire. They're primarily gas, and soda is the baking soda that's added at a certain point in temperature during the firing, and it gives a gloss to pots that's just luscious. So rentable studios, a place where you can take classes and do workshops. And then, of course, Deb's Instagram. All of these will be in the description. I also wanted to show you the page on Red Lodge Clay Center's artist page for Deb work that's available. Definitely check that out. There's been some pieces here that have just been so divine. So divine. Okay. So those are the things that are available online. And the last thing I want to share about Deb, besides the fact that she's one of the nicest people and she answered questions and she's a great instructor, she is, well, I don't know that she's from Alaska, but I know that she spent some time in Alaska. And she and one of my other favorite potters, Jen Allen, were art apprentices. They worked for and made pots for a potter named Chris Bliss, who was an incredible mentor to both of them. And I had the opportunity to visit with Chris when the internet was young, and we had a forum that we could ask questions, and Chris was a frequent contributor there. And I just want to express how grateful I am that Chris, who has since passed, had such an effect on so many great female ceramic artists. And these artists are just continuing to grow and continuing to contribute to the community. So you definitely should check them both out, Deb Schwartzkopf and Jen Allen. Now let me share with you the book that I happen to have here. This is a book that Deb wrote and put together. I love the way that this book is put together. One of the reasons that I love about this is she puts up projects and walks you through how to make these pots. So it's not just it's not about her expounding on her own work and, her accomplishments, but she's actually here to help you learn how to do what she does. And then you can take it in your own way. She also has several artists that take a sort of a cameo and discuss different things that they do. I just have to tell you, if you don't get this book, you're really missing out. I will, of course, include this in the description. The photography is great. I mean, she's got wheel throwing. Here's one of those. She uses isn't that amazing? So this is just something that I don't typically do is show you the artist's book, but I happen to have this in my library because I thought it was such an amazing book and such great information to share. And if that doesn't seal the deal for you, she also gives you an idea of some templates that you can make and the material you can make them out of. And I definitely recommend that you do that. If you have the opportunity to not only throw pots, but also hand build pots and then take them and put them together and make a pot that is not just one or the other, but both. It's a great experience. One of the things I love about clay is that you can take pieces that everybody knows, a coffee cup, right? And make it your own. And Deb certainly does do that. Part of Deb's making process is the process of using patterns such as darts, handle patterns, spout patterns. In a way, it's like what a seamstress would do with making a pattern, taking measurements, figuring out where the pot should flare or where it should come together. So what you'll find in a lot of the work that Deb does is there's darting. I think that's one of the reasons why she shows and shares the lines of where pots are connected. That way you see that there's been an alteration, there's been a connection, there's been some change that's been made to the wheel thrown piece or even the slab built piece, the hand built piece. So for example, in the cup, right, she has a template that she uses to cut out the shape of the slab. And that is also one of the things that is done. In some ways you can see it here where the handle is connected. So you see how the cup here is sort of a normal flare. This is where the pot has been thrown, and then there's been some darting that's happened here to bring up a little bit of a skirt. So do you see how it's just a little bit higher than it is on the other sides? And there was a darting that happened here to bring and pull this up so that it would meet the handle, so that this line would be a continuous line out. Okay, so just in thinking about how to make pots in a similar fashion, don't be afraid to cut the clay. You can always put it back together, or you can always throw a new piece. but just, you can't see it. I wish you could see it. But if you put your finger inside one of Deb's pots, you'll feel the seam where she cut that small amount of clay out and then pulled it together and sealed it together. And it's hidden on the outside by the way that the handle is attached here. That's one of the things that's fabulous about this. So there is a very heavy nature inspiration, but the making is wildly inspired by sewing, by making of garments. It's really special. So I would definitely recommend that you check her out on Instagram and go get her book. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this little visit, and for me a little bit of a walk through the past, and just to be able to look at these pots again and really enjoy and appreciate the glaze and the making. It's really good stuff. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode. Your support allows me to continue to make more of this amazing content. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you will be notified when new episodes are published. If you'd like to support me on a greater level, then check the description below where you will find opportunities to sign up for my newsletter, make a donation, or buy merch. Be sure to leave any questions or thoughts about this episode in the comments and check the description for more information about today's maker. I would like to acknowledge that the land where this web series / podcast is produced is on land that is occupied, unceded, seized territory of the Salish people. This episode was written, recorded, and edited by Paige Kelly and produced by EPicMediaMarketing, LLC. The music is a traditional Irish tune, Jacky Tar, performed, recorded, and provided by John Piccolo. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next one.